Hello everyone, welcome to Analog IAS Current Affair Analysis for 19th of March 2021. In this video, we'll be looking at this couple of issues. The first article, Biden and West Asian Tinderbox, is about the new challenge that Joe Biden, the new president-elect of the United States, would be facing in West Asia. Conventionally, West Asia has always been a problematic area as far as diplomacy is concerned for the President of the United States. This is going to be no different for the 46th President of United States as well. The challenges are plenty for Joe Biden. An US intelligence report blames Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman for the murder of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. We have already discussed the murder of this journalist Jamal Khashoggi in the discussion pertaining to Pegasus software. So Pegasus, to those who don't know, is a spyware. So this spyware, when it is installed in a device, whether it is a phone or a laptop, the person will have no idea that this particular software is installed in the phone. And the problematic area is both the device manufacturer and the software which it is infiltrating. Say in this case, Jamal Khashoggi's iPhone was hacked and it was placed through WhatsApp. So this brought out to the notice to the world that there is something called 0-day vulnerability. So neither WhatsApp nor iPhone were aware of this spyware. So the problem here is, how can Joe Biden deal with this US intelligence report which blames the Saudi Crown Prince? This is all the more important given the fact that Saudi is the center of power in West Asia. Therefore, an alliance that is crucial for United States in the region will be with Saudi first. But till now, Joe Biden did not give any intention or any sign that he would be acting against or for Saudi Prince. So Biden took the diplomatic route, sanction others and not mention Crown Prince at all. So he said that he spoke to the king and made it clear to him that the rules are changing and we are going to be announcing significant changes today. Biden even mentioned that he would be bringing to the world the human rights abuses that were going on. We also have to remember that Abraham Accords, one of the few diplomatic victories for Trump, where Trump's real foreign achievements were exhibited in this deal pertaining to Israel and a couple of Gulf states. And at the same time, we also have to take into account the West Asian dilemma. That is, on one hand, we have Saudis, with which US intelligence is at difference because of the Washington Post journalist murder. And on other hand, they have to deal with Saudi's rival, that is Iran, which is currently facing sanctions and has inclined towards China because of its nuclear program. So how do we deal with this conundrum is the question that is in front of Joe Biden. Like we have already mentioned, this region has always been a cause of concern for a lot of US presidents ever since the Second World War. We are specifically talking about Iran right now. After knowing that there is a significant potential for conflict with Iran because of the potential arms race that it might trigger because of its nuclear program, the President of United States back then, Barack Obama, has dealt with Iran as a diplomatic challenge wherein he has to settle the score without escalations. Therefore, his diplomatic efforts culminated in the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action JCPOA. But his successor Donald Trump has actually reversed this and imposed sanctions again on Iran, and this forced Iran to move towards China, which is again a big challenge to the US. Now, how do we deal with this problem is another challenge that is in front of Joe Biden. The diplomatic challenge between Saudi and Iran, ever since the Second World War, most of the US presidents were forced to take sides either between Saudi or Iran. So this time Joe Biden is in a peculiar scenario wherein he is trying to de-link himself with both the countries. On one hand, he is extending talks with Iran, and at the same time he is bombing the proxies of Iran. Similarly, US has withdrawn support for Saudi war in Yemen, and it is trying to hold its officials accountable for all the human rights abuses. So this is a clear deviation from the traditional foreign policies followed by his predecessors. The reason for all this is quite simple. West Asia is not the area of concern, it is the East Asia that is a problematic issue right now because of the rise in Chinese influence in this region. US wants to contain China, and all the diplomatic efforts are directed towards increasing the sphere of influence in East Asia. So that way Biden is trying to remove his resources from Saudi and Iran and place them in East Asia, making it the fulcrum of the new foreign policy along with Indo-Pacific region. That is the reason why Indo-Pacific became the new center of all the international efforts to maintain regional balance and maintain that globally a rules-based world order that will try to contain the aggression of China. So that is the gist of this article. This article titled Right to Health is about how we have to ensure universal health care as a matter of right but not a matter of charity. If you have to understand the principle behind this, you have to look at the definition of World Health Organization as to what it says regarding health. Health is not just a absence of disease but a state of well-being. So well-being is the central point that we have to understand whenever we are talking about health. Now, how do you define or conceptualize this well-being concept? Well-being basically means that you are socially, physically and mentally happy. So all these factors should be considered whenever we are talking about health. But ever since 1980s, when the issue of AIDS became more and more rampant, so HIV AIDS has actually triggered this campaign where it was believed that the person deserves a sort of a right to health. Now, what does this right conceptualize? It says that the person will have unstigmatized access to healthcare so that he is not socially isolated. His physical health is also taken care of at the healthcare facilities, and mentally the trauma this disease cause should actually be addressed as well. So this all together contributes to his well-being. This was the idea initially, but over a period of time, because of lack of resources, the government did not make health a right. The reason is very simple. Whenever you make something a right, it is a non-negotiable fact. So you will have to allocate certain amount of budget for every single citizen. You cannot deny health to any citizen. So if this is a reality, healthcare cost will actually increase significantly for the state. Given this reality, India did not make health a fundamental right or any right. But our national health policy, which was released in 2017, talks about affordable, accessible healthcare services to entire population. So universal healthcare is what this policy advocates. Now, in order to achieve this, we need not just resources but also human capital. In this context, we have to take a look at what Rajasthan government has actually done. Rajasthan government, in the wake of the havoc caused by the pandemic, it has increased the subsidy by 50% to 2/3 of its population. Now there is up to 5 lakh cover for cashless treatment for any problem. So even though these efforts are commendable, if they have to be sustained in long term, we have to get certain basics right, is what this article is trying to say. Now what are the basics? You need infrastructure. Where is the question? Whenever we think about infrastructure, we only think about mega hospitals which have super specialty facilities. But contrary to the belief, most of the costs in healthcare can actually be reduced if we invest properly in primary healthcare center. And when this infrastructure is created, it should be supplemented with right supply of medicines and healthcare professionals. So for this, we have to even use technology like telemedicine, which came to the rescue during the time of pandemic. We were able to manage this pandemic peak one, despite having a severe shortage of healthcare professionals in our country because of technology like telemedicine. Learning lessons from this experience, what this author suggests is we have to invest in our basic infrastructure, healthcare, and affordable medicine as envisaged in the National Health Policy of 2013. That is the gist of this article.